Well, here we are. Godzilla vs. Kong. Because after Ghidorah, the real main event is a giant monkey. Okay. I've had concerns about this movie for quite a while now. A lot of misgivings. I didn't think they were setting it up the right way. I thought they shot it in the foot with King of the Monsters, and for the most part, I think I was pretty accurate with that assessment. But while this movie could have easily been a disaster, there's enough fun stuff in here that I was satisfied, even if I am kind of lamenting the film it could have been. Generally speaking, I think this movie had the best pacing of this new Godzilla series. It struck the best balance of action versus downtime. The first one people thought didn't have enough action, then with King of the Monsters I thought they went too far in the other direction. With this one I think they nailed it, and the fights for the most part are really good, even if there are elements of them that frustrated me. The weakest part is still the humans though. This time they're split up into two groups. You got Team Kong and Team Godzilla. Team Kong is easily the better of the two. That plot has a heartbeat, it has an emotional core to it, and it's just a lot easier for you to get on board with those characters and want to spend time with them. Team Godzilla don't come off as well. Their dialogue is worse, their jokes are worse, they're hokier, they're more annoying, and their plot is a lot harder to digest. Now, Team Kong do some pretty hokey stuff too, but at least I was never tempted to get off the ride with them. So once again, the human characters are hit and miss. Nothing new there. But the monsters come off well, most importantly, and overall the movie does feel more focused and less cluttered than last time. That's the short version. But I've been thinking about this thing for a couple years now, and I can't not go into detail with it, so here we go. First off, it is eerie how much this movie feels influenced by Batman vs. Superman, which turned out to be a good thing and a bad thing depending on how you look at it. In terms of advertising, it looks like Godzilla vs. Kong took BVS as an example of what not to do, because hot damn, this is what the advertising campaign for Batman v Superman should have been. The trailers for that movie spoiled absolutely everything in it. Wonder Woman, Doomsday, so when you saw it, there were no surprises. But here, they kept the focus on the big fight that people are coming to see, and they kept all the twists, and there are twists, a secret. That makes a big difference. But it also takes cues from BVS in terms of packing the movie with a lot of stuff that either feels unnecessary or sometimes just gets in the way of the stuff you came to see. And as unwelcome as that stuff is at times, the filmmakers put themselves in a position where, unfortunately, these things need to happen just to make the story work. And this goes back to King of the Monsters. Excuse me while I throw out a big fat I told you so here. I said it back then and I'm saying it now too. Doing King of the Monsters before this movie was a colossal mistake. Because after Godzilla goes nuclear Super Saiyan to defeat Ghidorah, the question then becomes, how the hell can Kong possibly compete with this guy? And the answer is, he can't. That's the problem. So that being the case, you might think this movie is about Godzilla vs. Kong, one-on-one, all things being equal, just finding out who the real king is. But it's not. Not really. It's more about Godzilla vs. Kong and a whole bunch of military guys with their jets and their missiles and their bombs and stuff. Or Godzilla vs. Kong wielding a magical Deus Ex Machina weapon and so on and so forth. And then you ask, well, why do all that? Why add all this extra stuff to it? People want to see Godzilla vs. Kong, so why do they keep having humans getting involved and trying to fight Godzilla too and hinder him during the fight? Why are they introducing this strange magic axe for Kong to use so he has an advantage? Because that's the only way Kong stands a chance. Take that stuff away, and Kong is just gonna get flattened here. It's just like I said before. You can't have Godzilla do what he did in King of the Monsters and then get taken to the limit by Mighty Joe Young. It doesn't work. Which means the filmmakers basically wrote themselves into a corner here where the weakest aspects of these movies, the human characters and the world building, become absolutely necessary just to make the fight not ridiculously one-sided. And that ends up having a big ripple effect, because a huge chunk of this movie, like 40 to 50% of it, is devoted to really weird world building where they introduce a lot of strange new ideas and take the story in new directions that come way out of left field and feel awfully flimsy at times. Most of the second act is devoted to this stuff. It almost seems like it becomes a different movie for a while, where Team Kong are off on this bizarre side mission, and the whole time I'm thinking, what is the point of all this? Where is this going? Then they get to where they're going, and it all clicks into place. The point of the bizarre side mission that they devote nearly half the movie to is to get Kong that Deus Ex Machina XP boost that you saw in the trailer, just so he can fight Godzilla without getting destroyed. I guess at some point in between these movies, someone at the studio realized that Godzilla became a gigantic living nuke in the last one. Kong is kinda punching above his weight class here. He's got no resistance to atomic fire breath at all, so we need to level this dude up in a big hurry. That's what the whole side mission with Team Kong is about. And I'm really trying not to spoil anything here, but you are left with so many questions about this. Basic questions, like who or what built X? Or where the hell did Y come from? Or how is Z even happening right now? That doesn't make any sense. And almost none of this gets explained. They'd need a whole other movie just to explain all this stuff. And I assume they do want to make that movie, but man, they went off in some strange new directions here. And I don't think it did this movie any favors. And Team Godzilla aren't exempt from this either. Arguably the strangest plot point happens to them. A plot point that had me yelling at my computer screen, "That's not how DNA works!" Hopefully the critical drinker won't sue me for using his line there. They're just pulling stuff out of their asses at this point. And it's here that the movie lifts another page from Batman vs. Superman by taking something that a lot of people were anticipating, something that should have been fairly simple, and overcomplicating it with weird stuff. At least with the humans getting involved in the fights and the big side quest to help Kong level up, I understood why it was necessary. But here it's like, I have no idea why they thought the movie needed this. You're really straining credibility here, guys. And you could cut it out of the movie so easily, too. All it really accomplishes is making a little more connective tissue with King of the Monsters at the expense of making the climax of this movie a lot more cartoonish. But the upside is, when all these different plot points finally line up, the movie essentially becomes Pacific Rim for about half an hour or so. It looks like Pacific Rim, it has similar ideas to the ones in Pacific Rim, and turns out that's not a bad thing because Pacific Rim is a fun movie. And even with all the superfluous weird stuff going on, and a few big eye-roll worthy moments in there, I can't say the climax isn't a lot of fun. And the other fights too, frankly. Yeah, I was annoyed with things, like the humans getting involved too much and doing all this stuff to give Kong the kaiju cheat codes, basically. But the fights were still fun and exciting. They were spaced out well enough this time that you didn't get numb to all the action going on, and it was treated with the gravity that a battle of two titans like this should have. So the most important part of the movie, the big fight of Godzilla vs. Kong, was done well enough that I was happy with it. And that counts for a lot. So even though some of the human characters are kind of annoying, with at least one that's so unnecessary you could cut him out and not lose a thing, even though it feels a little too inspired by Batman v Superman in that it has so many ideas it tries to cram in that they really could have been spread out over 2 or 3 movies, I still feel positive about this one. Not everything in this movie hits the mark, but I do think it's better than King of the Monsters. If the studio wants to make more of these though, in the future, try to simplify your world building, ditch any human characters that you don't absolutely need, and I think this series can only improve from here. Guys, let me know what you thought of Godzilla vs. Kong in the comments. Ding the bell icon for notifications and follow me on social media so you'll always know when I upload new stuff. The link is down there. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and make sure you're still subscribed because what really needs to be incinerated by Godzilla's nuclear fire breath is the YouTube algorithm. That's all for now, but I'll be back soon with more videos. Until then, you guys take care, do all the YouTube things, and I'll see you next time.